Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. We'd like to seek the blessings of Brother Madhav, Brother Shamsundar, Krishna Balaram, Gaunita, Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj, and the assembled devotees, so that we can burp. Sorry about that. I was with humble. Had a good meal. Krishna Lila from Krishna book by Srila Prabhupada. And yesterday we were talking about the Brahmins' wives and how much they took full advantage of Krishna's association. So today we will look at chapters 24, hopefully up to 27, and all about Govardhan Lila, which is one of the most fascinating pastimes in Krishna Lila. Krishna saw that the men were preparing for a sacrifice. He asked them, why, how, for whom, etc. He was very inquisitive. Right? Anytime his parents would be doing something, he would be there in the thick of it, asking questions. So he was asking questions of Nanda Maharaj and the cowherd men. They were actually gathered in a meeting to discuss the preparations for Indra Puja. Nanda Maharaj answered that due to tradition, we are worshipping Indra because he sends rains. Now, Krishna wanted to make a change in the, he wanted to make a change in the tradition. And sometimes we resist change. One second. Sorry, just one second. So sometimes we're a little scared to change. Now here, Krishna was in the center of making a huge change in tradition to how the Brijvasis were worshipping. So when we come to the Krishna tradition, sometimes it involves a huge change from our previous conditioning and previous traditions. So we should, if we are very fortunate, we can embrace those changes and celebrate those changes. So here, Krishna said to Nanda Maharaj and the cowmen, why are you worshipping rain? Indra. The rains fall on the ocean. Does the ocean need rain? Right? No. The ocean doesn't need rain, but the rain falls there. So Indra's not very intelligent, is he? Right? It's because of karma, Krishna explaining. Due to karma, we get rains. He almost becomes an atheist. That don't worry about the any superior powers. Actually, by our own efforts, we're getting the benefits. This is almost the argument of the karmas. Of course, this argument is put forward by the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, who is not an atheist. He's the Lord himself. So anyway, Krishna persuaded the men not to do the sacrifice, as rains even fall on the ocean. And due to karma, we get rains. Instead, Krishna said, instead of worshipping Indra, you should worship Govardhan Hill in the local Brahman and Gomata. Like that. He explained that you should actually worship Govardhan hill. Yeah. Now, initially the cowherdmen were a little skeptical, a little scared of Indra. They knew he can be quite angered by these things. They were resisting, but Krishna was insisting. And when Krishna insists, you don't really have a choice. So they relented, they agreed. Because Krishna can be very, very persuasive. So this is a very good picture of Govardhan. This is, when we go to Govardhan, it's not often that you get darshan of Govardhan like this. This is a really unique picture. So the Vijwasis, they asked Krishna, how do we celebrate Govardhan? How do we prepare for this festival? So he explained, prepare nice food, rice, dal, halwa, pakora, puri, all kinds of milk preparations like sweet rice, sweet balls, sandesh, rasgulla, and laddu. And then he explained, you should invite the learned Brahmins who can chant the Vedic hymns and offer oblations to the fire. So in that way, Krishna was giving them guidance. You should cook a lot of food, so we'll feed Govardhan. The Brahmins, then when the ceremony took place, the festival was taking place, the Brahmins were given all kinds of grains in charity. The cows were decorated and fed as well. And after this, the sacrifice known as Govardhan Puja began. So Govardhan Puja is celebrated during the month of Kartik, the day after Diwali, in fact. Traditionally, a very important day. And we perform Govardhan Puja, which is how we perform it is we make a replica, sort of a small replica of Govardhan, and we also cook lots of dishes, offer it to Govardhan, and perform arti of Govardhan as well. It's very, very amazing actually, festival. Keeping the cows in, this is Krishna explaining and guiding. Keeping the cows in front, the people then circumambulated the hill. Then Maharaj and the learned Brahmas began to worship Govardhan hill by chanting hymns. Sorry, just one second. Anand Maharaj called in learned Brahmins and began to worship Govardhan hill by chanting Vedic hymns and offering them prasad. Now, what happened? This is a really amazing picture, painting, where Krishna, you can see him in the middle here. He's expanding himself as Govardhan. Krishna assumes a great transcendental form and declared to the inhabitants of Vrindavan that he was himself Govardhan hill. Then Krishna began to eat all the food offered there. The form of Krishna began to eat the offerings was separately constituted. This is Krishna and is also separately regarded as Krishna. Krishna himself is here, right? He's here and he's here. Krishna is leading the inhabitants of Vrindavan and began to offer obeisances to Govardhan. So Krishna was offering obeisances to himself. He expanded himself as Govardhan, who ate all of the offerings. And he was screaming out, Aniyor, Aniyor, give me more, give me more. He finished everything. And the inhabitants of Vrindavan were thinking, wow, what do we do now? What do we do now? And then a divine personality offered a tulsi leaf to Govardhan. And that tulsi leaf, when Govardhan ate it, he became fully satisfied. So Tulsi is so important. So why did Krishna? What's going on here? Why did Krishna want to make a change to this tradition? Because he wanted them, Brajavasis, to stop worshipping Indra, the Devata, and start worshipping Govardhan, the Brahmins, the cows, the Gomatas, especially Govardhan, because Govardhan gave sustenance to the cows, especially. And on Govardhan, the cows would roam and they would feed. So Govardhan's regarded quite very, very special. Govardhan's a devotee, but he's also Krishna himself. This is one of the few cases where the devotee and the Lord are one. Govardhan is devoted to the Lord, but Govardhan is also Krishna as well. So that can get a little confusing, but that's how we understand the position of Govardhan. Okay, so what happened? Indra became angry. He called for the Samataka clouds, devastating clouds. These clouds appear at the time when the universe is to be destroyed. So he called for those clouds and he ordered them, destroy Vrindavan by inundating the whole area with an extensive flood. He wanted to destroy the Brijabasis and the Gomatas. Indra thought Krishna was simply a talkative, childish person, unaware of the complete cosmic situation, unaware that Indra, I am king of heaven, in charge of rain. The clouds began to pour. These clouds came, they followed the order of Indra. They came, they began to pour water incessantly with all their strength and power. It's described that the water drops were the size of pillars, huge. And there was constant lightning and thunder, blowing of severe wind. The rainfall seemed to fall like piercing, sharp arrows. By pouring rain, water, as thick as pillars without cessation, the clouds filled all the land in Vrindavan with water. The situation was very dangerous. So this is quite a challenging situation for the Brajbasis. They were all very scared because they'd upset Indra. At that time, all the inhabitants of Vrindavan began to pray to Krishna. Dear Krishna, you are all powerful. You're very affectionate to your devotees. Now, please protect us who have been much harassed by angry Indra. And Krishna, of course, he saw firsthand what was happening. He knew what was happening. So he immediately picked up Govardhan Hill with his left hand, little finger, and he gave shelter. He called all the people, please come under Govardhan. I will protect you. Govardhan will act as an umbrella. Let the rain come, but you come under the shelter of Govardhan. So he gave shelter to all the people, all the inhabitants of Braj, and also the animals, especially the cows. This is fascinating. Krishna held Govardhan Hill up with his little finger of his left hand. For a whole week, he did this. Now, incredible pastime. Incredible pastime because Here, was looking at the Brijabasis and enjoying the sight, enjoying looking at their beautiful faces. And of course, the Brijabasis, the Gomatas, the cowherd boys, the cowherd girls, they were enchanted to look at Krishna's face. 7 days, 7 nights, Krishna's form. And for them, those 7 days, 7 nights were just like a moment, passed like a moment, because they were just enjoying this glorious sight of Krishna holding up Govardhan. Extraordinary. They even tried to assist him. His devotees would be very concerned that Krishna would get tired and hungry, and they tried to assist him. So they would help him. You can see here Nanda Baba holding up with his stick. Go with them. This is Balaram. Yashodamai was very concerned that Krishna is not getting anything to eat. He usually eats 8 meals a day. And this is the way the concept of Chapan Bhog, 56 offerings, comes. 8 times 7. There's 8 offerings a day, times it by 7 days in the week. Because he held the Govardhan Hill up for 7 days. 8 times 7 is 56. So Chapan Bhog comes from this Lila of Govardhan. So the inhabitants of Vrindavan and their animals remained there for 1 week without being disturbed by hunger. They were not hungry. They were not thirsty. They didn't have any discomforts at all. Why? Because they were just engrossed in looking at Krishna. It's first real occasion where they could just simply focus on the Supreme Lord without worrying about housework or looking after the cows. They just engaged in looking at Krishna. That's it. Amazing sight. And Krishna, sometimes he would gaze. Oh no, he was gaze all the time at the Bijava. And sometimes he would gaze, would fall on Radharani. And at that time, he would start to shake a little bit. And the hill would shake with him. And everybody would be wondering, what's going on? And Balaram, Krishna would catch the eye of Balaram. Balaram would catch the eye of Krishna. And Balaram would say to him, hey, stop focusing on Radharani. And remain focused on your job, holding up the hill. And Krishna would, oh yeah, straighten himself up again, make Govardhan Hill steady. So they would, this was one of the wonderful Leelas, most intimate Leela between Krishna and the Brijabasis. Fascinating Leela. Seeing the extraordinary mystic power of Krishna. So for 1 week he'd done this. The king of heaven was thunderstruck. He was shocked. What the heck happened? He was baffled in his determination. He would tell the rains, go. He would tell the rains or the clouds, you know, what's happening? Why haven't you defeated the Brijabasis? Then he realized, this is no ordinary talkative boy that I was thinking he is. He's actually Supreme Personality of Godhead. He immediately called for all the clouds and asked them to desist. When the sky became completely cleared of all clouds and there was sunrise again, the strong winds stopped. There's Indra. He's come to ask for forgiveness. Indra, the king of heaven, realized his mistake. He immediately fell down at the lotus feet of Krishna. Although his own crown was dazzling like sunshine, so Indra very powerful personality. His crowns dazzled like sunshine. But now he realized the exalted position of Krishna, because Krishna is the master of Indra. But he could not believe that Krishna could come down and live in Vrindavan amongst the cowherd men. Krishna is God. What's he doing with some uncivilized people like the cowherd men and women of Vrindavan? This is what his mood was like. His thinking was like, not realizing that these cowherd men and women are Krishna's family. He loves them, they love him. And now with his false, puffed up prestige destroyed, he approached Krishna with folded hands, prayed for forgiveness. Krishna was not happy. Krishna was not happy because Indra tried to kill his loved ones. So he wouldn't forgive him, kill them by the heavy rainfall. But Indra was smart as well. He brought Surabhi with him. Surabhi is Gomata. Krishna is very affectionate to Gomata. Surabhi, on behalf of Indra, asked for his forgiveness. And because Krishna loves Surabhi, he forgave Indra. She requested him to forgive him, and he forgave her. So then Krishna was also named as Govinda, protector of the cows. So the lesson from this is Krishna is very kind. Even such a big mistake of Indra's was forgiven. That time he was 7 years, 2 months, and 17 days. This is Govardhan, Giri Govardhan. He's worshipped in many, many temples. We were just very fortunate in Mayapur. They have a huge Giri Govardhan on the altar of Radha Madhav. So let's have a look at these things. Give up the 7 shelters. Krishna held up Govardhan 7 days and nights so that he can give us the 7 shelters, Srimad Bhagavatam. Give up so that we can give up the 7 shelters. Demigods, the great sages, ordinary living beings, relatives, friends, mankind, or one's forefather who passed away. And then there was a summary. There's this verse as well. O king, one who has given up all material duties and has taken full shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, who offers shelter to all, is not indebted to the demigods, great sages, ordinary living beings, relatives, friends, mankind, or even one's forefather. So we have these debtors in our lives. And if we take complete shelter of the Supreme Lord, we've got these debts to pay back. If we don't take shelter of the Supreme Lord, then these debts remain. We owe the demigods, we owe the sages, we owe even the sweeper on the road because he's serving us. We got to pay that back at some point. Relative, friend, mankind, etc. Since all such classes of living are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, one who has surrendered to Supreme Lord has no need to serve such persons separately. So this is quite important to understand. Okay, I wanted to stop there. Are there any questions, any comments? Anything you want to know more or less? Or anything that you'd like to share? Okay, let's stop there. Shri Krishna Chandra Bhagavan ki jai.